gentlemen, young people and supporters of DunsPlayFest. Tonight we are delighted and excited to welcome you to Duns Diner.
What's going on next door?
It's the primary school. They've been working on this show for the last few weeks, and now they're going to present it to the... This is the day when the lunch club comes and the older people come. Normally every day, every month, to the volunteer hall and have a lunch, and during DunsPlayFest they get entertained by the primary school people. And so they've been devising this play with these two brilliant sisters, and it's going to be fun.
Why did you start Playfest, John?
It happened really by accident. I was chair of Duns Players, and we had a week slot here at the volunteer hall, and at the same time I was doing a playwriting workshop with Playwright Studio Scotland, and we had a very vibrant tutor, very excellent tutor called Jules Horn. And this, I should say that this workshop was the successor of a previous one, which was run by Firebrand company, theatre company, called Page to Sage, and that gave a lot of playwrights, nascent playwrights, budding apprentice, even though quite middle-aged playwrights, a lot of confidence. And so when Playwright Studio Scotland came along, they had this outreach programme in the Borders. They wanted to extend their reach into the Borders. And Jules Horn got us all writing these 40-minute plays, you know, refining them and working on our technique and everything. And I think 8 of us produced these plays, and I thought it would be nice to actually put them on, to see them, rather than just read them, because that's what it's all about. You want to see it up and running. So we had these 3 plays we chose. We thought we'd put them on in a week. We had a week here, and then somebody, I don't know who suggested that maybe we'd have workshops that go alongside, or readings, or other plays, or a bit of music. And so we thought, right, we'll do that. And then, in order to bolster this, we got a big boost by making an application to Creative Scotland, and they supported it. And a lot of the nature of the thing comes from by trying to apply to Creative Scotland, because we wanted to appeal to the things that they like make it accessible as possible, as community-minded as possible, open to all ages. You know, the youngsters we got playing today, the youngsters will be playing to the older people, so we want all demographics to come in. We want it to be as kind as possible. And Creative Scotland gave us the grant, and from then on it has really taken off. So that was...
If you had to pitch in like 3 or 4 sentences why Playfest should continue, what would you say? What's its value to the wider public?
Well, Berwickshire has no theatre, and we believe that theatre matters and is important. So it is a kind of essence of theatre in 9 days, which it's a feast of theatre, which we get so little of around here. And it does energise the community, we believe. And it's also beginning to energise particularly the young, the early careers section of like the Edinburgh theatre makers. And it's becoming, we feel, every year a little bit more of an essential part of the Scottish theatre cycle, that this is something that people look to. The beginning of May, it's important to us to have it at this time of year. Also because it links in, I'm going with more than 4 sentences, but it links in with the nature. You know, it's all excited out there. It's just beginning, and we feel we're part of that. But that it also relates well to the Edinburgh Festival. People getting their shows ready for August. They come here at the beginning of May, and we think we're just becoming a wee bit needed.
From a personal point of view, what's been the best bit of Playfest for you? The experience so far?
Well, what I love best about theatre is acting, and apart from that, writing plays. So when I'm actually doing something, that is my favourite thing actually, is when I'm actually on stage and doing it, or when I've written a play and someone else is bringing it to life, which I find a fantastically thrilling experience.
What's the worst aspect of it? For you personally?
There are niggles amongst. We're quite a few of us are contributing now, and sometimes it's hard to sort out the. I don't know there are disagreements which need to be sorted out sometimes, which can be difficult.
What, again personally, would you say is the life lesson you've learned for yourself from this whole experience? What have you learned that you think, that's life?
I think maybe boldness has a magic to it. That's a positive thing which has come out of it. It wasn't really meant to happen, but it did happen because of not realising that it wasn't meant to happen. But for me, I'm always trying to learn to be a bit more practical and better at things than I am, frankly. I'm too much. I'm an actor and a writer, but I should try and work out how to be a better admin person and a better stagehand and know more about computers and know more about ticketing and things. I've got a million things to learn and a million things to be better at.
Tell me the name of the play what you wrote and what it's about. I'm thinking of You Can't Always Get Me.
Oh, this one. I wrote a play called You Can't Always Get What You Want, which is, of course, the title of a Rolling Stones song, and it's about a man who's the same age as Mick Jagger, but feels less lucky than Mick Jagger, and is trying to deal with the fact that he hasn't got very long to live, and he's widowed, and he's never going to see his daughter again, who lives in Australia, and his grandchildren. And he feels that he would like to contribute to his community, but he doesn't know how. And then through attendance at the incredibly tedious community council meetings, he comes to realise that there is one way that he could help before he dies. That's my play.
What motivated you to write it?
Well, it was written to order, really, because DunsPlayFest, might mention that it was lucky. We started in 2019, we had a perfectly agreeable small festival, and then we were getting ready for 2020, and in March it had to cool off because of COVID. which meant that we were kind of incubated, and we had everything ready for the next year, which again there was COVID and lockdown and things. So, but 21 we did it all online, so we were still incubated in a way. And then 22 we did it half online and half for real, which made us realise that if you got the opportunity for real or online, you go for real. And it was an effort to look at the online stuff because you didn't have to at that point. And then 23, that was 23, we got Sarah involved, who's a phenomenally dynamic producer, and so it's been on a different level since then. But when it was online, it was interesting. It was creatively challenging to try and get a new art form emerged, which was the Zoom play. So that play, You Can't Always Get What You Want, was written as a Zoom play, just one man talking to his computer, because that's what it was about. It's about him coming off his Zoom calls with the community council and then carrying on talking once the meeting's finished. So that's how it began, and it began with the idea that, as is perfectly true, that the council won't do anything about a dangerous corner because no one's ever been killed there. So if you think, well, if someone is killed there, then they will do something about the dangerous corner. So that's its beginning. Those are its two beginnings for that particular play.
What did you write for the Borders Pub Theatre the other night?
The Borders Pub Theatre, I wrote they were all called I Can't Remember a Thing, and my one was about a boy waking up having got really drunk the night before and can't remember having had his nose tattooed blue, which is what a Rangers fan might do because they're called Blue Noses, and so on. It's only it's a 10-minute play, so he's had one tattoo that he does remember, which is to get No Surrender tattooed on his bum, and then he can't remember getting his nose tattooed blue, but he's very pleased to find out that he has done that because he's such a mad Rangers fan.
What does Borders Pub Theatre attempt to do? What's its raison d'etre?
Well, I suppose it's a sort of training ground for writers. It's kind of exercise there've been about 10 of us, 12 of us. The other night it was just 5 plays, but we decide on a theme, and then we all write 10-minute plays, which are performed, which are rehearsed in the course of one day by professional actors and a director, and then perform script in hand at the end of that day. And it just seemed a kind of format that seems to work and gives us great exercise our writing muscles. I mean, we'd all probably like to be writing 2-hour plays.
What I would love to know from you as a writer is, how do you get up in the morning and do it? Because isn't writing something where you could just go, what's the point? What gets you over that thing that most would-be writers have, which is, oh well, there's no point, it's not really any good, nobody's ever going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's very hard. I don't know why it is so hard, because it's enjoyable to do it, and you read back over it and you think, oh, this is fun, and editing it is fun, but the actual first draft of it, I feel, is like hacking a path through a thorny jungle. I hate it's kind of painful, and I've really got to say, right, you're going to do this for the next half an hour, and then you can go and do the washing up or something. But the thing I've quite often got in my mind is apparently in the Japanese playwriting dictum is step one, book the venue. You know, you've really got to have, and that's what Borders Pub Theatre does for us. We've got to do it because we're loyal to each other, so we've got to perform it. We've got to do what we've said we're going to do, and come up with the work. But the initial part of it, I find it really like hard physical labour. I don't find it enjoyable at all, really.
Is there a voice in your head that's critical, and what does it say?
No, not really. It's just got to be done, and it's that physical thing. And that's what comes from Jules Horne's workshops. Even the word playwright, without WRIGHT, is like shipwright or wheelwright. It really feels like structuring it, and it's very practical business. You know, you can't. Plays they've got to live in time. You've got to attend to the fact that people need to go to loo and things, you know, and they're going to get hungry, and you can't. There are very few ways out of it. You've got to follow the structure, really. You know, someone like Samuel Beckett probably doesn't, but he's the exception. Everyone goes, "Oh, Samuel Beckett," but really, you've got to. It's quite hard not to structure it and deal with the practicalities of the solid thing that it's got. It must be a solid thing, and I kind of feel that audiences give you 10 minutes of they'll let you do anything, but after that, you've really got to come to them and communicate and be on their side. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. Yeah.